longevity. I'm worrying about the day that comes when. I think underneath our affection, our obsession with health care is no different than the obsession with plastic surgery. I think it's all mixed together with longevity. I think it's all mixed together with getting the best of what we can have for as long as we can. He who dies with the most toys wins. I think it's the same thing as advertising saying, use our product, you'll have better sex. I think it's all the same thing. And I think it's all part of our culture, and I think that it's convenient. These thought processes are as convenient as fast food and quickie marts. We know better with so many things we do, but we go, gosh, I'm in a rush, and okay, so I'll buy an $8 bottle of ketchup at 7-Eleven just once. Take me 5 minutes to 2 hours into the grocery store. We have to submit everything before the Lord. We have to submit everything before the Lord. Months ago, I was out and I got a phone call from my kid's mom saying that my child, who's at my house, home alone, called her crying because she has stomach pains. And the way they're described sounds like the appendix. So I have a healthcare guru person that I turn to in times of crisis, and I called her and I ran by her all the stuff I just heard. And she said, sounds like appendix, you really need to get her to the hospital. So I dropped what I was doing and I went home and I sat with my kid and I prayed the entire way. And I walked in and my kid was bellowed over in pain and crying. Oh, here's the email. And I looked at her and I said, is there any chance this isn't your appendix? And she looked at me and she goes, well, I don't know, I hadn't thought of that. I said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. You're going to drink a cup of hot water. What? Well, I got a screaming phone call for that choice. And even the person on my side thought that was a ridiculous choice. Well, the problem is a cup of hot water tends to stabilize all the internal parts of the body, and it gets rid of tummy trouble. If it's an appendix, it's going to escalate. If it's not the appendix, cup of hot water might make her feel better, she'll go to bed. It escalated. And I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. It's not even happening to me and I don't want to go. Selfish me. I decided to pray a little bit longer. Screaming on both ends of the phone, man. I could not win here for the life of me. I walked up to the kid, I laid hands on the child, and I said, I don't want to go to the hospital tonight. We want to get a good night's sleep. So for goodness sakes, whatever this is, be fixed in Jesus' name. And my kid lifted up her head and said, I feel fine. And she got up, she walked around the house, and she felt fine. It was months ago. We've had not a single stomach ache. And by the way, the appendix never burst, and she doesn't have a scar. And I got a few moments with a couple people. Damn, it's fun to be right. Of course, there's some well-meaning somebody thinking you should err on the side of caution when it's your kid. It wouldn't have hurt you to sit in a hospital. Okay? Before I get biblical on this, you tell me they wouldn't have said it's her appendix and it needs to come out. You tell me I was guaranteed that wasn't going to happen. Give me a break. Give me a break. With all the stuff of lawsuits and insurance problems, they even have to do something. If they said her appendix looked fine and they sent her home and it was her appendix, no way. Trip to the hospital that night was going to be the removal of an organ. Now how do I know I'm right? Because I was right. There was nothing wrong with her appendix. Or even better, there was. And I took her to Dr. Jesus. Oh, how's that for irresponsible parenting? I got to bed by 10. She got to bed by 10. We slept through the whole night. And we didn't go to a hospital. We didn't have any surgeries. We didn't have any tests. We didn't have anything invasive. And we felt fine in the morning. Oh, gosh. I left out the other thing. She actually has a testimony about how God moved in her life. She saw that firsthand. She knows how much pain she was in. She knows if it was or wasn't her appendix. You know what I'm saying? She knows more than anyone else will ever know. Could have been a bad burrito. Could have been her appendix. Could have ended up the same way and we'd never know the truth. Every one of us knows someone who's had their appendix taken out and had to go back for more fun. It happens. When God healed me of my cancer, I found out that when I prayed for people who were sick, they got well. And so, 20 years ago, my public ministry started with me praying for people who were sick. And they would get well. You know how easy it is to get people to come to your church if you heal them of something? It's amazing. And I witnessed thousands of healings, physical healings, in Jesus' name. My kids witnessed it, my friends witnessed it, my family witnessed it. And when I started this ministry, especially in Phoenix, this ministry, it had and has ever since broken my heart that I didn't see this happening night after night after night. On a selfish level, I think it would pack this place if word got out that people were getting healed here. But everyone knows where my heart's really at, and that is that I just would really like to see God move because it's really cool. And it's really exciting to see that. And when I read this, and God's been talking to me week after week after week after week about how watered down Christians are now and how much Christians have turned to their culture for their information and how much that has affected God's relationship with His people. When I read this today and knew that I was going to talk about what's being served and saying we need to not eat what's being served, starting with what Eve's handing out, but everything after that that Satan has handed out ever since, that under the guise of, well, God created it, so it must be okay. God gave us this, it must be okay. The same argument for smoking pot is the same argument for why we go to doctors. Oh, it's got to be good for us. It's here. It's got to be good for us. What I want to say to you guys and to you guys and to whoever you'll talk to and to whoever you'll talk to is that God promised in His Word that when we grow in Him and we turn to the culture around us for our guidance, for our information, for our wisdom, and assistance in our decision-making process over Him, or not as much as Him, or not as strong as Him. Did we just lose battery? That's still going? Okay, that was really weird, because this is like the best part. I didn't want to lose it. Because I love you in TV land, and you can make a donation to my ministry at www.PaisleyYankolovich.com. And he said that if we do that, we're going to be succumbed by the culture around us. And we're going to get sick and die. And the one thing that I see is, having just had my 28th birthday and rapidly approaching 30, I'm more hyper-aware of the older people around me saying things like, well, that's because you're getting older. That's what happens when you get old. This is what happens. This is what you can expect when you get old. And I'm like, gosh, I want to join a commune. I want to join, actually, a monastery where no one's allowed to talk. Because if I'm not going to hear what's in the Bible, I'm going to hear what people think. And they've heard from someone else, and what they've learned from their pervasive culture. And I don't know if you guys know this, but most of the news is bad. Most of the news is bad. I don't want this information because it's not true. Well, yeah, it is. Science is... Oh, don't you start with science. Nothing's true. The only thing that's true is God. The Bible says that. Let God be true and every man a liar. I love that. It specifically means if God didn't say it, you can't tell me it's true. I don't care what history says. I don't care what science says. I don't care what your experience with God says. If God didn't say it, please. I don't have to listen to it. I don't mean to be rude, but my gosh, aren't I under a wee bit of speculation for what flies out of my mouth? Everyone should be under that speculation. At least we should be able to say so, excuse me. That's bad news for modern men, and if it's not in the Bible, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. I'll lay in bed at night and think about the likelihood of arthritis if you keep telling me about it. That's the kind of guy I am. And then tomorrow, because I didn't get enough sleep, I'll have joint pain. Well, survive cancer equals hypochondriac. I'm sorry. Gotta protect people's minds from stuff that can stumble them. And everyone's got stuff. I have to watch what I say around certain people because I can hurt them. And I want to have people tell me the truth. Not their truth or not their opinion of something that they call the truth. That's not the truth. That's their opinion. What is the truth? What does God say about it? What does God really say about it? And what does God exactly say about being sick, the aging process, the life cycle? What does he really say about it? I don't want to know what Solomon said. I don't want to know what David said. I don't even want to know what Paul said. I want to know what God says specifically about all these things. This is why Paul said, make sure you're functioning in the gifts of the Spirit, especially prophecy. Because people need to hear the truth from God. They want to know what God says. I get what Christians say. I get what people think the Bible says. I get what history says. I know what the medical community says. What does God actually say about? God says, don't eat what's served. God says, pray about everything you do. And not walk away after you've prayed. Well, I prayed about it, so whatever, I'm going to go do it. God says, don't eat what's served. Pray about everything that you do and know exactly what he thinks about it. Know exactly what he thinks about it. If you're sick and you're in need of a physician, do not use anything that I said to remotely sound anything like you're making God mad and it's a sin to go to the doctor. I said nothing of the sort. I said it's good to know that God said, now's a really good time to go to the doctor.